Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we will chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verses 11 to 20.
Avajananti mam mudhaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajanantaha mama bhutamaheshwaram Mogha karmanaha mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasi masurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha भजन्त्यनन्यमनसः ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम् सततं कीर्तयन्तो माम् यतन्तश्च दृढव्रताः नमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता उपासते ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम् अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञः स्वधाहमहमौषधम् मन्त्रोऽहमहमेवाज्यम् अहमग्निरहं हुतम् पिताहमस्य जगतः माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रमोङ्कारः ऋक्सामयजुरेव च गतिर्भर्ता प्रभुः साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभवः प्रलयस्थानम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् तपाम्यहमहं वर्षम् निगृह्णाम्युत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन त्रैविद्या मां सोमपाः पूतपापाः यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान्
Janvi, you are on mute.
Thank you, Kinnari. He had given us a pretty difficult time earlier and made us really go into mental somersaults. So you'll be happy to know that from now on, he has come back to his Somya Rupa and is going to explain what is a very simple concept, which is basically he's let us know that there is Prakriti and there is Purusha. Right? He let us know that there is matter and there is spirit. Since there are two things, you get the option of focusing on which one you want to focus on becomes your choice. Um, Iconographically, in India we have a very, very developed culture, and so iconography was an extremely developed art form over here. So what they did through it is they tried to communicate the philosophy through painting, sculpture, and things like that. And so therefore one of the scenes you will see, or painting or sculpture or whatever, is you will see Krishna standing like this. In one hand he has the stick, and one hand he has the Jnana Mudra, and he is taking his cows to graze. So the stick is meant to take the cows to graze, and the Jnana Mudra is how he is standing. This expresses exactly the same thought which he is about to tell us now. The stick represents us sending the cows into the pasture lands of the world. The cows represent our senses. So we send out our senses to the pasture lands of the world. The senses go out and enjoy the sights and the smells and the taste and the touch and all of that. And then what do they do? What do the cows do? They come back home in the evening and regurgitate cow kudchu. They bring that up and they chew it again. This is what the cows do. That's why they're used as a representation of the senses. So we go out, we see things, we meet people, we talk, we do so many things, right? Our senses are in the world, interacting with the world. And then we come back home and then we regurgitate, we cut chew, we remember those things and carry on and on about it, about who did what to me, what happened, how good that rasgulla was, how rude that person was, then how bad the traffic was. We regurgitate the whole thing. We cut chew, we create desires because we'll carry on about all the things that we liked and all the things that we didn't like, and thereby strengthen our desires. So we have this option of living our life like this. This is the default option. Everybody chooses. Education talks about something else. It talks about the Jnana Mudra. This is the Jnana Mudra. What is Jnana Mudra? It shows these three fingers are up. So they represent, these three fingers, they represent the body, mind, and intellect. This fourth finger represents the ego, and the fifth finger, our opposable thumb, represents the self, represents God, represents Brahman, that within us, which is the enlivening principle. Now, why is the thumb used to represent the enlivening principle? Is because the hand becomes useless without the thumb. What will you do? Imagine if you didn't have a thumb, what would you do? So this thumb is like the most important part of the hand. So when the ego, that's this finger, surrenders itself to the Atman, which is the thumb, it forms a circle. The circle represents infinity. It represents realization. So your two choices in life is the stick and the Jnana Mudra. The stick sends the cows to graze. The stick also results in a beating. So this is the default life everybody has. You send your senses out to grace, and consequences, you get a good beating in life. The other way is Jnana Mudra, where the ego detaches itself from the body, mind, intellect, and surrenders to the self, thereby forming a circle. That means infinity. This is how they represent it iconographically. Now he's going to explain this whole thing to us philosophically. Our whole culture was around explaining Vedanta. All our art, all our symbolism, all our everything, rituals, festivals, everything does nothing but explains Vedanta. Because different people will learn it in different ways. We are not all the same, right? Like everybody cannot come to a Vedanta class. They can't sit through it. They say, अरे उसमें कुछ होता ही नहीं है, कितना boring होता है, सिर्फ बातें ही करते हैं, भजन भी नहीं गाते. So everybody has their own perception. I mean, whatever they like. And we have a rich tradition in this country of each person must pursue his God his way. So, every method was given. Absolutely every method was given so that people can pursue their God in their way. Now, that's what we must understand of this. This verse talks about the same thing. Avajananti mam mudhaha. The mudhaha, the fools. Avajananti mam. Do not see the ever-present reality, the ever-present Brahman. Atma tu satatam praptaha, says Shankaracharya and Atma Bodha. Is ever there. Remember, everything we see is a combination of spirit and matter, Prakriti and Purusha. If you all are doing anything other than the class, please switch your video off. Anuja, please switch your video off. It's disturbing to others. They cannot concentrate on what they are doing because now they are thinking, will I also be able to get myself a cup of tea or something? In this class, you're not supposed to drink tea, have your food, even drink water. Not even supposed to drink water. Don't do anything because you don't have the capacity to focus. Nobody knows how to focus over here. And then you try to do other things along with the class. In your class, you can either look at your screen or write in your book, nothing else. You've got these two options. I would love to tell everybody, put on your video so I can see what you all are doing. But technology doesn't allow that, so that's that. Nothing to be done in class time. 1 hour in the week you all can just not do anything. Is it okay? 1 hour in a week? If you say, no, I have to attend 4 classes, and I suggest to attend 1 class, but be there fully. Don't, I do this also and I do that also. People who do this also and that also are simply wasting their time and my time. Because when you do this and that, it means I have to keep repeating 100 times. So minimum you can do is not make me repeat 100 times. Get it the first time. As I told you, in the family in which I got married, they have a simple rule. I told you the first time. Don't repeat it. Okay? They've already told you. Either you do it or you don't do it. That is up to you. But they aren't going to tell you again. I think that's a great thing. Instead of our ways of going on and on repeating. Okay? So you do only one thing in class. If you cannot do only one thing in class, switch the class off. It's fine. Anyway, you're not there. So why are you wasting the resources of the country? Only listen or write. 2 options, nothing else. Preferably write because you're never going to remember everything. So, sorry?
I'm very sorry.
Okay, no problem, Anuja. Everybody sit down and just listen. No, this wasn't for you, Anuja. This was for everybody. Because at least some I can see. The others are doing exactly the same thing, except that I can't see it. Now, every aspect of Indian culture is meant to communicate the philosophy. And what is the philosophy communicating? That there is spirit, there is matter, there is God, and there is everything else. And you have the capacity as a human being, you have the choice as a human being to concentrate on any one of the two. If you're any other creature, You don't get this choice. Only a human being gets this choice. Don't lose that choice. It's the only thing that separates you, right? Get that choice because you have an intellect. Only with an intellect do you get a choice. And the highest choice a human being gets is, shall I focus on the spirit or shall I focus on matter? And to us, it doesn't sound like much. Like, it sounds boring, right? Spirit or matter, arey chodo yaar, kitna kaam pada hai. We don't understand what that really means. That's why he's tried his best in the last thing to explain it to us. He says you're looking at a rope and believing it to be a snake, and you're dealing with that thing, whatever you're seeing over there, as if it were a snake. Because that's what you're seeing. How else will you deal with it? You're seeing a snake, right? You deal with it as a snake. So the consequence of that, can you just imagine? You're dealing with a rope as if it's a snake. You're dealing with sand, dry sand of the desert, as if it was water. How do you expect things to be right in life? In every situation in life, there is this combination of what is there and what I think is there. I have to find out what is there. Simply because I see it in a particular way, I start dealing with it. This is a formula for disaster. That is the disaster that's happening in everybody's life. And that's what he's saying. Please see it for what it is. Don't see it for something it is not. He's pleading with us. He's begging of us. He's saying, please, get it. Life isn't so tough. It's not that bad after all. All you need to do is see it for what it is. And if you can accomplish that much, well, that's it. There's nothing else to it. That's what this topic is about, he says. The deluded disregard the self, the wise gain and glorify the self. Glorify and seek the self. Right? So who is a deluded person? Here we say, oh, he's Ravana and he's Duryodhana and blah, 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 which is true, which is absolutely true. They are the deluded. But the fact is, there is no difference between a Ravana and a Rama, a Duryodhana and a Krishna. What is the difference? The difference is Duryodhana sees the matter and Krishna sees the spirit. Only difference. And the whole Ramayana and the whole Mahabharata is only this much. That's it. Now you decide which part of the Ramayana and Mahabharata you wish to be in. You want to be on the Rama side or the Krishna side? And what is it? Or the Ravana side? And what is the difference? Is Ravana this horrible, horrible person? And Krishna this great, wonderful person? No, they're both the self. Then what is the difference? In one case, the choice is to focus on matter. And on one case, the choice is to focus on the self. Now you understand how important that choice is. It's not like, when you read this, Bharat always, he's very keen and works very hard on, sort of getting people to come to the class and does a wonderful job. And every week I get a message from him, what shall I give as this topic? Okay, and this week was deluded disregard self, wise glorify and seek self. Correct. And yet when you say this to people, nobody's interested. Nobody wants to know. And why would they? It just sounds boring and stupid and irritating. ये क्या ये लोग बोलते रहते हैं? Isn't it? Who will come? Would you and I have gone if we read this? The deluded disregard self, the wise glorify and seek self. Nobody will go. Nobody will even recognize it as the ultimate truth. Who will recognize it? Frightening. Very frightening. Sarthak, focus, 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 focus. Don't worry about that at the moment. In due course, you will find out. If you had attended yesterday's class, you would have seen that the body, mind, and intellect will be affected by the world. The body, mind, intellect will be affected by the world. You need not be affected by it. And there's a whole story on how beautifully, the beauty of the Ramayana and Mahabharata is the way they tell you these things. And I'm not going down that street because everybody is getting all lost. I think I will have to be less explanatory. It's lost, it's just keep on repeating the same thing over and over again. And even if I repeat it 25,000 times, nobody still knows it. So I don't know what's going on. So pay attention. Simple idea, which is going to be across these few verses. He's already told us, remember, there is the spirit, there is matter. There is the reality, there is the illusion. Your job in life is to see beyond the illusion into the reality. See what is there rather than what appears to be there. That's your whole job in life. You have no other job. And if you can do this much, you don't need to do anything else. If you see what is there, you don't need to learn anything else. You'll just live your natural, normal life. Nothing needs to be told to you. Avajananti mudhaha manushim tanumashritam. Avajananti mudhaha. Mam, me, avajananti. Jananti, they know. Avajananti, they do not know. Mam, who do not know? Mudhaha. Who are the mudaha? Who are the fools? Who are the demons? Who are the rakshas? Who are the bad people? Who are us many often? Just made the choice to look at the illusion rather than to look at the reality. To look at the perception without seeing what lies beyond that perception. Made that choice. So these mudaha, these fools, these wicked people, this us, this anybody who makes this choice at any point in time, manushim tanum ashritam. Manushim, tanum is the body in this form. So in this form, there is the reality and there is the illusion. The fools will see the illusion, they will not see the reality, because this body has both, right? The body has the self and the body has matter. Which one do you want to see? And what happens when you see it? He's going to tell us what happens when you see it. All the time, just find out what is the truth in the situation. You don't have to tell anybody the truth. You don't have to discuss the truth. You don't have to convince others of the truth. All you have to do is see it yourself. So he says, the fools do not see me in the form, in this human form. So you can, now, if you understand this much is clear in everything in life. There is this combination. We have the choice of seeing either of the two. This much is clear to everybody. Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Okay, all clear. If anybody is not clear, then let me see, because I'm going to build from there now. I don't know why the rest of y'all aren't doing it, but okay. This much is clear. No, everybody is quiet, so I don't know whether 70% are not saying anything. Are you all there? Oh, shit. All the time, find out what is the truth in the situation. Please, can you give an example? Yeah, suppose mom fires you, Ashia. Why have you left this over here? Then you have to ask yourself, what is the truth in the situation? Is it that she is just being irritating, or is it that I have done something wrong? If I've done something I should not be doing, then I should apologize and say, sorry, I kept it wrong. If she's doing something she shouldn't be doing, then you deal with the situation as you want. But make sure that you are seeing the situation for what it is. That much you must do. And as you keep doing that more and more, you'll see so much. You'll see so much, not just who's right and who's wrong. You'll see why your mother says what she says. What is driving her? What unfulfilled desires or what frustration or what needs are here? When people are telling us something, being rude to us or taking things from us, do we stop and understand what are their needs from us? Did you ever ask the question? What is their need from this thing? And can I fulfill it in a more intelligent way than what this person is trying to do right now? If you live with a child and the child is stealing sweets, will you say, oh, he's such a thief, let's give him to the police? You won't do that, right? You'll say, what happened? Did I give him less sweets than a child should be having? You will investigate it, right? Find out why did the situation come about? If my staff is stealing from me, why did this situation come about? I have to understand it. Just understand it. Once you understand it, you will know how to deal with it. But even in our attempts to understand, we'll go and catch hold of the wrong end of the stick. It's impossible, sometimes absolutely impossible. You have to just figure it out for yourself. Nobody can tell you. After a point, all the sages just kept quiet. Now one can see why they do that. Because no matter what you say, you cannot communicate. It's a fact. Either you get it or you don't get it. That's it. Nobody can explain anything. Are you okay, Ashya? Hemant, how do we see the truth in all situations? By seeking it, Hemant. Try to seek it. Try to find out what it is. And you'll see it. Just try. Don't just go by your immediate feeling. Try and find out what can I see. And as you go on and on, see. When you see a tree, you'll see the self. When you see screaming, you'll see the self. When you hear the storm, you'll see the self. Go on trying to see the truth, and you'll just see more and more of it until you see the ultimate truth one day. Except there's no you to see it. But you will reach. Find out, question, think. The only difference between a philosopher and a non-philosopher is, do you think? Do you attempt to understand? Have you a curious view of life? That's the only difference. Nobody can tell you anything. You have to find it out for yourself. You will have all come sweetly on a Sunday morning, hoping that you will come to this class and you will learn something. I don't know. Will you? It all depends on what you do. So, in the class, there is a truth, there is an illusion. You know what the illusion is? I understood what you said, so I know the truth. The class is 10% of your journey. 90% of the journey you're going to do on your own, in your own painful way. There is no other way to this. This class will be of the same class. I mean, nothing about this one in particular. Any class is only as good as the student who attends it. There's no point saying how good or bad the teacher is. It's pointless. There may be some gradation on teacher. Somebody explain little better, somebody little worse. It doesn't matter. All that gradation is in the 10%. Remember, Ekalavya learned from a murti. You will learn from a murti too, if you're willing to put in that kind of effort. Your teacher could be the dumbest person, the smartest person, whatever it is, 10%. 90% on our own, each one of us. It's our own personal journey. So, I don't know, is that okay? Yes, Rajneesh, each one of us have our own biases, filters to see others, and difficult to get. Yes, but you have to do it yourself. Nobody from outside can remove your bias or your filters. Nobody can do it. Do it yourself or don't do it. If you choose not to do it, what is going to happen to you is about to come. Next verse is so simple. It's so deceptively simple. When you read it, when you read it, it's like you know you're listening to the truth. Sometimes you don't know you're listening to the truth. Okay? Sometimes you can identify that you're listening to the truth. And you struggle. I struggled with that verse earlier. I used to think, Swamiji doesn't even explain the verse. Come on, explain me some more. I can tell this is true. But I need you to tell me more. No, doesn't. Maybe he is right. No, he definitely is right because I explain and explain till doomsday and I'm in exactly the same position. So maybe that's right. Explain less. That will force people to think more. Avajananti mamudhaha manushim tanam ashritam. Oh, yeah, there's something. Is this Sarthak? So, ma'am, you don't recommend rejecting waking world as illusion. Why bother our mind with this screaming lady? I don't recommend anything, Sarthak. It's for each one to determine for themselves what is true and what is false. If you can see it as an illusion, that means you are a realized soul. How can I advise anything to a realized soul? It would be stupid on my part, isn't it? Uh, if anyone is capable of rejecting the waking world as an illusion, then correct. Why would he bother his mind with the screaming lady? Correct. But let's ensure that we don't superimpose one illusion on another. Is it really an illusion for you? If it is, fantastic. If it isn't, deal with the screaming lady. Understand why is the lady screaming.
Ma'am, I can use my intellect and it can tell the mind that it is an illusion. Like I can use my intellect like it is an illusion.
That is not intellect, that is mind. You're repeating something false. How can that be intellect? It's an untruth. You're not seeing it like that. Or if a person is not seeing it like that and claims to be seeing it like that, that's sheer hypocrisy, isn't it?
Ma'am, he doesn't see it that way. He says that it is written in the scripture, so it must be true. So he applies the situation that whatever this is, it is just an illusion. So, ma'am,
Were you
thought
there
process.
in that class? Which class did we do about the hare and the tortoise? I told you the funny story about the oxygen concentrator. Were you there in that class?
No, ma'am.
Friday class, ma'am.
Huh?
Friday class.
Thursday. How do you know?
Okay. Okay, Sarthak. I can't repeat the whole thing again. I don't know how many people are common between classes. Are most of you common between classes? Because I see the same faces always on videos, so I'm assuming that everybody is. Okay. Two. Who else is common between classes? Is how okay, let's put it this way. How many people in this class attend only this class? So that may be easy for me to tell then. How many people in this class only attend Sunday morning class?
Me.
Ma'am,
Wait.
I attend the Sunday classes.
Okay. Only Sunday class.
Only Sunday classes for Gita.
Okay. So 3-4 people is only Sunday.
I do
5, 6.
Saturday, but Vedanta.
Okay. 6 people attend only Sunday class. Okay. So Sarthak, okay, let me give you the short story. The short story is this. Take the story of the hare and the tortoise. You know the story of hare and tortoise, right? Aesop's fable. They have. Now, put the story into a religious context. Okay, you hear it as your traditional story told to you by a religious teacher. Now you have decided already that what the religious teacher is telling you is true. If you have taken such a call that what he's telling you is true, then you will start arguing like this. My guru told me that the hair of the tortoise had a race, so it must be true. There must have been some wonderful time like this when hare and tortoise could have talked to each other and could have had competition, because you've decided it is true and now you're going to find reasons to prove it so. So you'll talk of some beautiful, glorious age in the past where this happened. And then some others who do not believe in your religious stories or are from another religion will find this very funny and say, you mad or something? You ever heard of a hare and a tortoise talking to each other? You people are absolutely mad. Which is what most people do to other people's cultures. They say, what nonsense? पागल है ये लोग, क्या बोलते हैं? Virgin Mary had a child. पता भी है क्या बोल रहे हैं? It's very easy. And I'll say, oh, their God has an elephant head. Is it possible to put an elephant's head on any human being? It's not possible. These are the arguments going on in religion nowadays. Where did this all start? It starts with first deciding and then proving. So Sarthak, if you don't see it as an illusion, don't claim it. Don't repeat it. This is not Parayan going on. If you're trying to understand, understand. Don't do repetition. It's not a mantra to repeat. Look carefully and see whatever you see. Whatever you see, act accordingly. The simple thing. Thought, word, and deed in the same line. It's not a very complicated thing. Thought, word, and deed in the same. What you see, you act in accordance to that. See what comes as a result of that behavior. Adjust your vision a little further. Again, your action will change a little further. See what comes as a consequence of that. Adjust your vision a little further. And as you just focus and focus and focus more, the ultimate truth will stand revealed. You do not have to do anything further. Is that clear, Sarthak?
Yes, ma'am.
So what does he see? Saying fools, or is there something else? Can Sangeeta Bhatia, can we say illusion, this world or experience is temporary? You say whatever it looks like to you. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't claim it to be an illusion when it's not to you. You understand it is temporary, then say so. But if you understand it is temporary, then what on earth are you crying about? If you're crying, 9 or 10 times you're saying it's temporary, and crying away merrily. It's all hypocrisy going on. See what you see and behave accordingly. Don't fake it. That's the first rule. Don't fake anything. See what you see and behave accordingly and attempt to see better. When you see better, you will behave accordingly, hopefully. So he says, fool, now read the text. If you understood this point and read it, fools disregard me dwelling in the human form. So in the human form, you will see Krishna, you will not see the self. You will see the Murti in Vrindavan, you will not understand what the truth is. Isn't it? When you meet any human being, you will see their body, mind, intellect, not see the self. Fools disregard me, dwelling in the human form. Even if you meet Krishna himself, he actually comes and stands in front of you. You will not be able to see the Lord because you will see Tanum Ashritam. See that form. Can't see the self. Fools disregard me dwelling in the human form, not knowing my supreme nature, the great Lord of beings. The power of truth. The power of truth, we reduce it to, oh, you must tell the truth. A 5-year-old child or something, you must tell the truth. I said he was a very stupid man, but that is the truth, so I said it. Pagal hai kya? Can you grow up a little bit? There's a vast world of truth. Vast, vast world of truth. And you can see just one and you're showing off. See the whole picture. That is knowing the truth. Not knowing my supreme nature. That means within everything you are saying, there is something supreme. What is that supreme nature? That same goal that each one of us aspires to. Every one of us, from the person who's behaving the worst to the person who's behaving the best, aspires only to reach that one final ultimate thing, that supreme nature, that which drives everyone, that quest for happiness. Except we go off chasing in the material layers instead of investigating something higher and something better. Investigate. Don't say, no, happiness lies in the self. If you say happiness lies in the self, that is equal to, give me one word. If you understood so far, you should be able to answer that in one word. When you say happiness rests in the self, that is equal to one word.
Hypocrisy.
Desireless.
Very good. Who said that?
Janki ji.
Ah, very good. See, Aditi, she is the one who is doing her studies. And I hope the rest of you are doing it. She makes her summary, she makes her précis. Today in the evening, for all those attending Saturday class, is the meeting, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes meeting, just to break up the group into smaller groups. Please make your summary and précis in such a way that you will know the flow of thought. Not optional. I have to do it. I'll stand with a stick myself, Too long we've been very kind and very sweet, And our little थोड़े मारपीट से ही काम होगा. Everyone is too chilled, all looking very happy. If you're in a philosophy classroom looking happy, something's wrong, no? So, teacher's angry today. No, she's always angry. She expresses her anger in different ways. Permanently angry. Not knowing my supreme nature. At the end of the day, you've come to know that supreme nature is supreme. So supreme means what? It's unaffected. He's already told us all this, okay? He's just repeating what he's already told us. He's unaffected like? Come, quick, tell me. I'm assuming you have done your revision. He said it is unaffected like. What did he say? It is unaffected like?
Space with wind.
Very good. Space with storm. What is this fellow's name who's coming to us now? Something, whatever. Strange names these storms have. No matter what the storm is, space is unaffected. No matter what the storm is, you are unaffected. When will we reach this truth? What is the use of saying I am not affected? Faking it and becoming a hypocrite and driving everybody around you. People are going mad and they're trying to move you out of your tamas, and you say, oh, I'm so unaffected by everything. पागल लोग हैं, सबको मार पड़नी चाहिए. So, that supreme nature is unaffected. Like space is unaffected by any of the 5 elements. It cannot be burnt by fire, nor wet by water, nor cooled by wind. So too there is something in every one of us that is not affected whatsoever. And it is our job to find that supreme nature. That happiness, that ultimate happiness, that never gets affected no matter what happens. You have to find it. Don't say it's there, I am unaffected. You have to find it. The great Lord of beings. The great Lord of beings, Bhutamayeshwaram. It is that in us which enlivens us. So you cannot say, what have I to do with it? What have I to do with it? You cannot function without it. It's like the bulb saying, what am I to do with electricity? It's like the car saying, what have I to do with petrol? Whole thing will come to a grinding halt if it's not there. So, supreme meaning is unaffected. Great Lord of being means it is enlivening. Together, these two qualities are usually referred to as Sakshi Bhav. That means it is happening because of that thing, but it is not affected at all. Okay, there's something in this world that's so powerful that everything happens because of that thing. But that thing is not affected by anything that happens, like the sun. Everything on planet Earth happens because of the sun, but whatever happens on planet Earth does not affect the sun. That's called Sakshi Bhav. So if you sit in your home doing nothing and say, I'm Sakshi Bhav, then sorry, ain't working. Sakshi Bhav is Krishna. Whatever happens, happens because of him, and he is not affected by whatever happens. He fights the war. He ensures that the Pandavas win. He makes the war happen. He makes it so that Pandavas will win. And he has nothing to do with it. That's where we have to get. We are not passive receivers of the will of the gods. We are the will of the gods. It is by our doings that things will happen. And no matter what happens, we will not be affected by those things. Then that is growth. If you don't have both these things, then it's either tamas or rajas, one of the two. You have them both. Make things happen, and even though you make things happen, you're not least bothered. Don't say I'm least bothered. Then that's tamas. Don't say I make things happen. Then that's rajas. But if you are able to make everything happen and still not be bothered, you have put your heart and soul into it. You have done everything to make it happen, and you're still not bothered. Then that's Sakshi Bhav. So fools disregard me dwelling in the human form. You have the choice. You want a life of character, or you want a life of chalta hai life. You have a choice. The choice is always available with you. Which one do you want? You want to focus on the self, or you want to focus on matter? So you don't see the self. What are you ignoring? The supreme nature and the great Lord of beings. What is this? I'm really carefully listening to what you said to now, but it's like a verse translation is saying something else. It seems like he's saying fools are unable to recognize that I am an incarnation. This happens, Sarthak, because you're not following the book. Buy Swamiji's commentary, which is available online, and study with that. What you're doing is an incredibly silly thing, which is you're learning Advaita with a Dvaita textbook. When you're studying Dvaita, you please take your Advaita textbook and study with that. When you're studying Advaita, you take a Advaita textbook and study with that. How can you be taking an arts book and studying it with science and then taking a science book and studying it with arts? That makes sense, right? On the wrong track if you do these kind of things. No wonder you're confused, and when you're confused, you'll learn nothing. Switch off from one, switch on to the other. Switch off from one, then switch on back to the first. Study one thing at a time. You can't study two things at a time. You can't study Dvaita and Advaita. They're two separate subjects. And you can please study them both if you like, but don't study them at the same time. Okay, so super sorry. Okay, very good. Your apology accepted. Get Swamiji's book and read that book with this class. And some other
Ma'am,
class, you may have another textbook, which is fine.
ma'am, I'm not using a Dvaita text. Like what you said, I am interpreting from that only. Like, isn't he saying that they are not able to see that in my personal form, they are not able to see that I am the Lord of all beings? Like what you said, I am interpreting from that only, not from a Dvaita text.
No, because you remember that text. You remember that you have that already in your mind, whether you're reading the physical text or not. It's already been implanted onto you. Otherwise, why would you think like that? Do you not understand that everybody is have you not heard so far that everybody is a combination of spirit and matter? He said that, right? Prakriti and Purusha. He said that. And then he's continuing. He's saying, so you are disregarding the Purusha and paying attention to the Prakriti. So if you're following the line of thought, you won't have a problem. It's
Ma'am,
because you're following another line of thought that you're finding this problem.
ma'am, this verse seemed similar to the chapter 4 verse in which he says that he descends and this verse seemed similar to that.
Sarthak, one day you will come to class. एक दिन ऐसी मार पड़ने वाली है ना. All the times you have done this, उसका एक बार we are going to meet और उस दिन मार पड़ेगी. And fourth chapter you're connecting to here. And verse 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're not connecting to 11. मैं क्या करूँ तुम्हारे साथ? I don't know. Focus, focus, focus. You make sure, Sarthak, you're there at the revision class. Fourth chapter you will connect, but the immediate verses you connect, no?
Ma'am, you separated matter and spirit in the previous verses 1 to 9. I get that, everything I get, but that how it is applicable in this verse, only that I'm not getting. Ninth verse, till that it is perfectly clear. So when you started the class, I just thought that you are maybe just explaining the ninth verse better, and I just couldn't relate it to the 10th verse. That's my problem, not that.
No, but Sarthak, firstly, we are on the 11th verse. 10th verse says, by me presiding, Prakriti produces the moving and the unmoving. Because of this, O Kaunteya, the world revolves. Read, no? Let's read it together. Everybody, if anybody else has this problem, let's read it together. Up to verse 9, you all are clear that he said there was Prakriti and there is Purusha. And then he's telling us in verse 10, by me presiding, that means can Prakriti do anything on its own? No. The combination always also has to work. Can the bulb give light on its own? No. It is always the combination. So by me presiding, by the Atman's presence, Prakriti produces the moving and the unmoving. But the particular movement or non-movement, that means action, is based upon the type of Prakriti there is. Okay? Because of this, the world revolves. Everything that is happening is a combination of Prakriti and Purusha. Next verse. Fools disregard me dwelling in the human form. What has he already told us? The human form contains Prakriti and Purusha. So fools disregard the me part of it and pay attention to something else. I mean, it's following the line of thought, right? What is the difficulty? Not knowing the supreme nature means not knowing the Purusha, the great Lord of beings. We only see the material part. He's just continuing the same line. There's no difference. Are you able to get it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Rahul, if we say happiness lies in the self is hypocrisy, then why do we say only if we are happy we can radiate to others? Rahul, which Rahul is this, please? Do I know you? Can you switch on your video? Are you from a class or what? Where's Rahul? Rahul? Are you there, Rahul?
Rahul, yeah, ma'am, he's
Yes,
there.
yes, ma'am.
Where are you? How come I can't see any Rahul anywhere? Acha, here's Rahul. Okay. So if we say happiness lies in the self is hypocrisy. Happiness lies in the self is not hypocrisy, Rahul. When we don't find it, but we claim it, that is hypocrisy. Then why do we say if we are happy, we can radiate to others? Well, this is a fact. How can you be? You have not found happiness. How can you give it to anybody? You don't have any money. How will you give it to anybody? You don't have knowledge. How will you give to anybody? There is no connection really. Happiness lies in the self is hypocrisy, is no connection to if we are happy, how we can radiate it or not. When we claim to be happy when we are not, that is hypocrisy. So how can you give anything when you don't have it yourself? Okay?
Yeah, got it.
DP Singh, can you please explain difference between Advaita and Dvaita? Oh gosh. DP Singh, where are you? Where is DP Singh now? Can you switch on your video or something so that I can see who this is? DP Singh, okay. Different between Advaita and Dvaita. Dvaita says there is God up there and there is us. We are separate. Advaita says no Dvaita. There are no two things. There's only one thing. There's only God. That's the difference. Now, if you want to read up more on it, you can read Vedanta treatise, which gives the whole explanation of Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishta Advaita. To explain it properly, I can't ever continue the flow of thought if I go there. So therefore, there's also a video on the YouTube channel. You can listen to that also. There, there are short videos on the YouTube channel. So look up 3 philosophies or 4 philosophies, I don't know, whatever, on Team Janki Santok, and all the 3 or 4 are explained. I can't remember whether we did 3 or 4, but whatever it is, it's there. 3 philosophies, 3 main philosophies which are possible. 4 are actually possible, and they're all there. Okay, and with their names. Okay, so verse 11 is clear. There is 2 things. You have the capacity to focus on any of these 2 things. I just want to do the next verse because if you've understood this, the next verse we don't need to explain at all. It's so simple. Verse 12. Moghashamoghakarmanaha moghajnanavichetasah Rakshasīmāsuriṃ chaiva prakritim mohinim shritāha moghashamoghakarmanaha moghajnanavichetasah Rakshasīmāsuriṃ chaiva prakritim mohinim shritāha. Okay, clear? Was it clear about last verse that in every situation in life, there is a reality, there's an illusion, there's a fact, there's my perception. Every situation. Now you get a choice which one you want to focus on. Suppose you choose to focus on the illusion. Suppose you choose to focus on the perception. Moghasha. Moghasha means moha me asha. Right? You have an asha, you have a hope. When you have moha, moha means in delusion. You don't know what is there, but you have a hope there. Mogha karmana. You have an action there. That is also based in illusion. Mogha jnana. You have knowledge. That is also based in illusion. Vichetasaha. No brains going on. Rakshasim asurim chaiva. Rakshasas and asuras behave like this. Prakrutim mohini shritaha. Prakriti. What is their Prakriti? Mohinim. Mohinim means very interesting usage because Mohini, is something very attractive. But the root is Moha. That means you are attracted to something which is not there. Try and think of it as water in the desert. You are seeing water, so you have a hope in vain that one day I will reach that water. Therefore, your actions are in vain. You're running towards the water. Your knowledge is in vain because you will say, oh, there is so much water, there is this, that, whatever you want to say about that water. It is vichetasaha. There is no intellect backing it whatsoever. This is what is happening to a Rakshas or an Asuric person because their prakriti is mohinim shritaha. It is based in moha. It's an interesting usage. Mohini means attractive. That water is very attractive, right? But it's all based in an illusion. There is no mirage there. What are you running for? There is no water there. What are you running for? That's why it's all in vain. It's vain hopes, it's vain desires, it's vain actions, it's vain knowledge. So much you learned about that water. It's vain knowledge, nonsense knowledge. Every morning you open the newspaper and gain what knowledge? You gave up studying Vedanta because you wanted to read the newspaper? Moghasha, mogha karmanaha, mogha jnanaha, vichetasa. What did you give up for what? That's what he's talking about. Vichetasa. Without cheta, without intelligence, senseless. This is how we make asuras and rakshasas. This is how we become asuras and rakshasas. It took a little more time because if you followed it so far, this verse becomes very, very clear, isn't it? Okay, so that's it. Hari Om.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank
Om
you.
Janki ji.
Hari Ma.
Hari Om
Hari Om
Janki.
Janki
Thank
ji.
you,
Thank
Janki.
you.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank you.
Hari Om Janki.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari Om.